よし、じゃあ、戻りましょう。家に。あ、なんか誰かいるじゃん。何これ、誰かいる。
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I presume.
Correct. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Emilio Estevaux, happy to make your acquaintance. I am here on behalf of
あ
Mycroft, your brother. He's on his way to Cordona. In the meantime,
あ、ついにマイクロフト
he
出
needs
てくる。
assistance with a sensitive matter. My orders are to provide you with the details.
You have my attention, Mr. Estevaux.
Mark Ridley, the son of General Arthur Ridley, is being blackmailed. Suffice to say, the compromising material is of a delicate nature. The matter is of no small importance to the Crown, especially given the status quo on Cordona.
What about the status quo?
The Ottoman population holds a certain animosity towards the colonial rule. It's been this way since we took over the island. General Ridley made concessions with their leaders, but I'm afraid we are still teetering on the edge of open hostility.
What does Mycroft want me to do? Retrieve the blackmail material?
No, sir, nothing of the sort. Mark Ridley is meeting the blackmailer atop the old city bridge tower. You shall observe from a distance, then establish the blackmailer's identity. Do not attempt to arrest him. We'll handle it from there.
Saving the best for yourself? Fine.
There is a cafe just over the bridge that provides
入れ墨のあれ入れたままだった。
Please report to me when you are done. I'll be waiting for you here, and remember, discretion is of the essence.
メインストーリーだね、これが多分。あ、象の人形こんなとこに置いてある。
I imagine Goliath was surprised to find out his lady was not real.
あ、これか、でかっ。でかいな、おい。何これ。
Bizarre object, and yet oddly familiar.
あ、人魚。人魚の骨みたいな。
Did you just remember something?
Yes. A room full of curiosities and artifacts.
骨董品や工芸品でいっぱいの部屋。
Sherlock. So, you continue to pursue the imaginary. I had hoped you might have got all this out of your system by now.
Mycroft,
嘘でしょ。
what are you doing here? Get out of my house.
It's my house, actually. I've come to bring you
本
back.
物
I have
幻想とかじゃなくて。
interest in returning, let alone with you. I know you lied about Mother all these years, claiming she was merely ill, but she was unstable. She never had tuberculosis. She was not recuperating, but mentally deteriorating, and you never once thought to tell me. How dare...
I shall not indulge this petulant tantrum. You can just tire yourself out and then slink back to London with your tail between your legs.
Just tell me everything! I'm an adult now. Show me the basic courtesy of an explanation. You know I will find out eventually.
The goal was stability, and that's what you got. The right thing for everyone was to try and move on from her passing.
The consequences of one's actions determines what is right or wrong.
Yes, exactly. The ends justify the means. After leaving Cordona, Sherlock, you had a normal childhood. In London, I was able to support you, guide you, shape you into a fine and productive young man. You have so much potential, so much to offer society.
But that's not the end. Now I found the truth, and it has shattered everything I knew about her, about you, and about myself. I feel unstable because of you. Your actions were not justified. Lying never is.
Oh, grow up, Sherlock. It was a white lie which has as much use in the realm of the interpersonal as the international. It is time you come to accept that some things are bigger than yourself.
Oh, you are full of it. You like to pretend you care about the big picture, but it's just an ego trip. You like knowing more than others. You like greasing palms and rubbing shoulders with the rich and powerful. You like having eyes and ears everywhere. The fact it helps the nation is incidental. Because all you care about is yourself.
It's true. I have agents everywhere, including Cordona. If you weren't so damn stubborn, you'd realize that means I'm only here for you.
めちゃめちゃ喧嘩するじゃん。こんなんやだな。こんなの欲しくないな。
Just look at this thing. It's huge.
いやー、やだー。骨、せめて骨だけじゃなくて、肉も皮もついた状態で欲しいよね。せっかくの人形ならね。どこだろう？どこが開いたんだろう？
Must be something important behind it. I can feel it.
あ、あれ？あ、違う違う。あれどこだ？あ、これ？いや、違う。あれ？あ、あったあったあった。
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall. It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
いや、
Impossible. It
生
must
き
have
て
been
はねえだ
something
ろ。
else. Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
他にも誰かいた。
It was my mother.
あ
She
ー
asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons.
あ、そうなんだ。作り物か。まあ、そりゃそうだよね。
It's time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us.
お母さん壊しまくってんじゃん。
The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that.
なるほど。あ、ここ開いた。
Ah, yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
広いな
I。never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur. Scarcely believable. He also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him. Watkinson and Holman, Chapter 1, by Wallace Dioram.
Oh, Mycroft. He always acts so serious, but then reads tripe like this.
John, if I remember correctly, you couldn't put this book down.
うーん。
One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable. I remember this cozy blanket. It was perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them.
あー
Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side.
家の中で秘密基地みたいなの作るの。昔やったな、俺も。
Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
その木はおか
So
し
he
くない
tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
The full plate armor of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armor is armor, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
あ、なんだこれ。
1852, Bingley, West Yorkshire. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake.
何の写真？
Oh, I remember these. We used them to spar together until Mycroft found out and forbade us from using real weapons. So many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand. Reliable and driven. I recognize Mycroft's handwriting.
何これ？
Officer Luciano J.
あ、
Basilio.
プラシド刑事の警部補か。あとどこ？あれ？あと、まだある？ん？
This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success. Maybe today's the day. Ah, Sherry.
何？あれどこだと？
Carefully opened. Carefully opened. Dated 24th of April, 1869.
なんか裁判やってるみたいですね。
Look, it's Roger.
ロジャ
This
ー？
jolly old man's
ロジャー
wife
って何？
even looks refreshed.
どこのロジャーさん？
I
Eh?
doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best. I'd be upset if he fell into the wrong hands.
どこのロジャーさんですかこれ？海賊王のロジャーさんですかこれ？
The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man. And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmets.
破れてる。
Really, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. The Tulpa, Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject.
あとは、オットー・リヒターの個人的なメモ。精神的外傷を与えるような環境に彼女を繰り返し置きだって。精神病を進行させるつもりだ。ああ。悪いやつだったんだ、やっぱり。ああ。 オットー・リヒターに弟がいる。で、記憶の宮殿。あ、違う。あ、来た。うん、そうだね。これもないな。オッケーかな。あ、まだある。まだあるね。あ、あった。
I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what. And we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. Books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. Now it's coming to the surface. I feel it.
全然わからんけどね。ああ。なんで投げて、ああ、そういうこと。これ何してる？ああ。なんだ？こうかな？はしごを使い、一番上の棚。こうかな？
You're not even trying, Sherry.
違う。あ、これでよかったんだ。
Sherry, let's go outside. Wait, did you hear that? Come here, Sherry.
You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them.
うん。はいはい。で、これね。
I heard a noise in the hall. Let's check it out.
あ、また誰か来たって。これの鍵。
Ah, the memory comes back. We snuck about watching him.
He closed the drawer and went to the hall. We were like two shadows crawling behind him.
はいはいはい。
The painting on the wall was slightly a tilt. He stopped and straightened it.
で、こっちだな。
Then he threw some logs into the fire and sat in his armchair to read.
It's as boring now as it was then. I'm sorry, Sherry, but I think that's it.
Wait, John, we never use the fireplace in the mornings.
お
What if...
あ、なんかあるじゃん。
I think this is what we're looking for. A bit of juniper in the fireplace created a soothing atmosphere. It's the little things, isn't it?
よし、開けに行こう。誰か来たって言ってなかった？
We made it. So what's there?
Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favorite. Gifted by Queen Victoria
す
herself.
げえ。
Otto Richter.
なんだこれ。
This one is rather thick. Mycroft
ああ、
may
マ
surely
イクロフト
have
が
forgotten in his research.
オットー・リヒターを調査した資料か。
Dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met.
で、誰か来たってなかった今。正面玄関。
Sherry, look. We've got a parcel here. Hurry up.
また？あ、違うよね。え？ボーゲルからのでしょ。ああ。あ？またボーゲルだ。あ、また。ん？あ、マイクロフトからのあれは、あれか。メインストーリーじゃないのか。じゃあこれ行く？グランドサライ地区北部。コルドナ修道院の向かい。あ、これだ。向かい。とりあえずこの辺行くか。また遠いんですよ。ターコって何？ターコ。あ、書いてあった、ターコ。地下。ここじゃね？来た。すごいね、これ。すごいことになってる。なんか、金色の仮面つけてんだけど。
I'm so sorry, but this is
ああ、
a
そういうこと。
costume party.
そういうことですか。何？なんか持ってたっけ？あ、なんかあるじゃん。ああ、これで。あとはいいね。ジョンも仮装させとくじゃん。ジョンも仮装させとこうか。ジョンどこ行った？いないな。まあいいや。
Welcome, sir.
来ましたよ。
Enjoy the evening, sir. There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
うん？ 目隠ししてピアノ弾いてたね。おっと。
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite?
うん、どっから喋ってる？あ、いたいたいた。上流階級たちを暴露することができる情報。
My goodness, Sherlock. They made a blood fountain.
No, John, it's definitely not blood, just wine. Gahors at a guess.
ああ。
Do not distract me. It's not easy to play blindfolded.
じゃあ目隠ししなきゃいいのに。
I need a rest from my insatiable wife.
はあ、みんないろんな悩みを抱えてるみたいですね。
My husband thinks I am playing bridge here.
ブリッジって何？
Do you know what was here before
Oh.
Manchiosa's family bought it?
不気味な過去。やった。何なんかちょっと曰くつき？
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists.
Hey, Ansel, I see that look in your eyes.
やめてください。
Manchio's had to enforce the masks after the scandal.
えーっと、
I'll pin them down with this scoop. Thank you, Sherlock.
ジョンはいいのよ、別に。ジョンの方は別にいいんだよ。こっちよ。誰だ？誰に話したら花が進んだ。
Sherlock, friend, I wasn't sure you'd come.
誰？よくシャーロックだって分かったな。
I see you are
こいつ、
not yourself.
あ、そうなんだ。
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone. and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? There's wine, of course, something to smoke, or perhaps an artificial paradise? So, yes, something more spiritual, a potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
そんなものに意味はない。
My mind already operates at a far higher
かっ
level
こい
than
い。
most.
僕の頭脳はすでに研ぎ澄まされています。
My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty? You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next? Visit the victims? Ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Not now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
いらない。
I am perfectly capable of coping with myself without medical assistance.
Then I shall press you on it no further. But please do not refuse my gift. Take it with you as a souvenir of this special night.
Souvenir of what, exactly? But, all right, if only to put the matter to bed.
And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find
Fabio.
our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute. Go.
何何どこだろう。あれあ、これかな。おっと。
My God. Was he here this whole time?
何事？
This crude tattoo
奴隷の焼き
partially
印
covers slave branding.
へえ。
A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage.
殴られたんだ。なんじゃこりゃ。
The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood. The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to...
苦しんだってことかな。
The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart. He died right here.
おお。
This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger. This oil has a slight aroma of flowers and olive. The ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac prepared from a Spanish fly.
なんか儀式して
This
るな。
elaborate box. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. They have a slight hallucinogenic effect to emphasize the ceremony. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus drawn in a hurry.
うーん。
The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars.
火星。あ、こっちは何もないか。なんかある。
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion. An open wound spoiled the carpet.
あそこで死んだならなんでここにも
The
血が
sturdy
落ちてい
bottle
る
met a not so sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened. Why don't people tidy up after themselves?
何まだなんかあるな。
The wounded person was here for some time.
おー
A bloody handprint on an armchair. A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
あとは
Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to get a little exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend.
本当だよ。
Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner. Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
うん。
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Huh, who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts. Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His beauty
あ、そ
was
う。
to talk
そんなイケメンだ
of
ったっけ
too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance and more.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
推理が大好きって。確かにそうだけど。
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil, not this travesty that seems straight out of the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger.
目の前で
Parts just pretend, of
やっ
course.
ちゃうってこと？
But
多分おかしいでしょ。
intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed
いいだろ
of.
別
It would
に。
explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
You didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio. Correct.
まだこの鍵をどっかで使う？あったなんか。
Identical to the robes the guests are wearing. The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it.
周りに水。
Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain. This is a different ritual.
これ違うんだ。なんつう儀式だ。
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal.
Ah. 自分から儀式に参加してるわけじゃなさそうかな、女性は。
Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
Would you recognize me in one of these? I suppose not.
あら。
Similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Perhaps,
あ、
perhaps.
来た、つい
I
に。
think I can deduce what happened here.
Eh, ちょっと待って。こいつが鍵を挿した。そしてここで挿した。あ、ここで刺したこともある。あ、ここで殴った。ここで殴っただね。で、引きずってく。はいはいはいはい。はいはいはい。洗って隠してかな。よ
The
し。
bottle was used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door. The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not
すべ
moving.
てわかりました。
I think I know what happened here. I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
記憶の拠点行くか、とりあえず。うん。はいはい。いや、どうなんだろう。わからんな、それはまだ。 かな。階段室の鍵を持ってるのは誰か。
The murderer had to have access to this room. After the crime, he used his own key to lock the door. So, who had the key to the altar room?
I'm not sure. As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his
黄
guests.
金の星の
He
仮
has a
面ね。
mask with golden stars. You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry.
そんなこと言ったって殺人が起きてるんですから。黄金の星の仮面。神経質な男ね。星ってどんな感じだ。こいつか。
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
Did you know Fabio well?
People are starting to look at us, Sherlock. Change the subject. I can't believe what happened to him. To me. Such an atrocity. Think what it means for me. A wonderful evening for so many good, influential, and rich people has been ruined. I have betrayed all my promises of exotic.
そうか、みんな儀式を見るの楽しみに
I
して
don't
たのか。
understand. Surely a murder would affect your reputation to a greater extent.
Please, isn't this why you are here? I thought you were a silent magician. Do your tricks and make it go away.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
マティスタとサントス。
Matista and Santos.
サントスは誰だ。
Santos. Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. Of course. What's that noise?
何
What's
何
going
何
on? Freeze, filth. You're under arrest.
急に警察が来たぞ。あ、やばい。違法なパーティーに踏み込まれた。よくあるやつだ。大丈夫これ。シャーロック大丈夫？捕まってるやん。手錠かけられてんじゃん。
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig. Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of
母親を知っている。
Rest her soul? Wait,
You knew my mother?
not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing
Oh.
some notes. Why?
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to me if you could find any information about that day.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the
そうなんで
smartest
すよ。
thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
顧問探偵めっちゃかっこいい。響きが。
I'm glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
よし、ちょっと着替えるか、じゃあ。あ、ここでは着替えられません。はいはいはい。被害者によって書かれた抽象の手紙を所持していた。ああ。警察の動作を妨害するためって。はいはい。
Back on track to solve the case.
取調べ室の鍵。ああ、なるほど。目撃者の供述調書。サントスってあれか、鍵持ってるかもって言われてた人だね。はいはいはい。よし。あ、ちょっと待って。これは、関係ない。記憶の宮殿行くか。はいはいはい。そうだよね。そうだよね。本当にその通りだよね。いっぱいあるな、おい。
Look, I found Werner.
バーナー。ボーゲルとかどこにいんだ？これは？
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping
あ、これ
Constable
マティスタだ。
Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday,
ちょっと変わってるな。
just like Fabio.
Fabio knew the risks. Selling his body to degenerates who hid behind robes and masks, it could not end well.
That's only your distorted
す
understanding.
ごい化粧なんだけど、この人。
Officers here.
ちょっと
they
す
wear
ごくない
robes
これ。
and masks too. It's a dangerous
なん
lifestyle.
か変な風になってる。
But it's not as though we were given
字
many
幕が変な風になってる。
choices.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
血が溜まった傷、最近つけられた。オカルトの入れ墨。爪を噛んでいる。うわぁ。足かせの傷。あとはどこだ。ああ、この人も奴隷だったみたいなこと。あ、そうだね。ああ、なるほど。いや、こっちだね、多分。
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the
あ、
tattoo
違
speaks
ったか
loud.
もしかして。
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died.
何を言っている。
We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
うーん。
Good day, Mr. Manchios.
あ、
I am Constable Oswald
この人が
Spartan's
カートさん。
investigation.
素顔。
Quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy after all.
I need to examine you first.
犯人見つけたところでさ、この人はこの人でなんか悪いパーティー開いてんだから違う罪で捕まりそうじゃない。爪の下の先端、急いで手を洗った。急いで手を洗った。うーん。 ああ、どうなんだろう。こっちかな。あ、いや、潔癖症。潔癖症もあるか。どうなんだろう。こっちかな。
You are so focused on cleanliness that these products are severely damaging your skin.
I would laugh at you. If only my cheeks didn't hurt. Not exactly. I try to take care of my body. A young man who has yet to confront his own aging couldn't
間違ったみたい。
understand.
These chemicals are quite literally melting your face.
Ah, the price of beauty. I'll be fine. I'm sure of it.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
うーん。
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see.
ファビオはどんな人物？
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
若い子が本当に好きなんだね、この人。
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
うーん。
You'd better ask. It's not something I know much about.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation. What?
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
でもサントス捕まってないんだよ
I've
ね。
no idea about. Not something I know much about.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him.
何でも叶えられたって、何でもってなんだよ。
With my
OK。これで OK。こいつは OK。次。あそこにいるね、ボーゲルが。なんもないか。
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
嘘をつく気はありませ
I
ん。
will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
I don't think I
どれ
can
だ
tell you anything about this. I can tell you anything about this.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti,
Do I know him?
the major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you.
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
そうか。後ろにいる人は誰なの？着替えようぜ。あとは、オズワルド。記録庫にいるオズワルド。こいつか。
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to
開
the
けるの
closet.
感じが違う。
Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7.
おー
Mr.
ん。
Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men
まあ、
said.
抵抗したら逆に怪しいか。これはどこだろ
Here, Basilio Copello.
う。これ関係ないか。金庫の中で遺体が発見された。また変わった事件が。
In the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We can just stand around and look
違
confused.
う。これ違います。あ、ここだ。
Good night. Your ticket, please, if you want me to.
エビデンスルーム。チケット、チケット、チケット。
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
来た。
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring.
ほうほうほう。
It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials
KM。
KM in the
あ、
corner.
カートマンティス
An emergency kit for boredom.
ファビオからの手紙。
Not the time for privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook. That's not for bedtime reading.
何の本なのこれ。
This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library.
愛の力、血とマンドレイク。オカルト本か。ああ、蘇生術のなんか儀式。
The book
No
describes a
話か。
ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room.
うん。
Her key to the altar room. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Thank you, officer.
オッケー。じゃあサントスに話聞きに行こうか。まだ時間かかりそうだな、こ
This area is restricted.
の事件も。サントスに話聞いて、ちょっと一旦今回終わろうかな。
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
何度も修繕されている。過敏性赤く腫れた肌。何度も染色されている。ずっとこの服着てるってこと？貧しい暮らし、そうだね。おしゃれのために染色してんのかな。経済的に困窮している。こっちだと思う。
You are the major domo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide under heavy makeup a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
I do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
I don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios
ああ、そうなんだ。
only because
ファビオ
Fabio
が。
refused to work without her.
へえ。
Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose. Mr.
よし、OK。じゃあちょっと、一旦この事件ここで一回区切りますかね。ちょっとこの先もまだ長くなりそうなので。はい、次回も引き続きこの事件解明に向けてやっていこうと思います。それでは、ありがとうございました。